Hello and welcome to CSU TV News. My name is Sharifa Jackson.
And I'm Courtney Napier. Governor Nathan Deal will deliver the commencement address at Columbus State University's spring 2014 graduation on Monday, May 12th. About 800 students are expected to graduate at Columbus Civic Center at 6:30 p.m. We could not be more honored than to have Governor Deal as our speaker. CSU President Tim Mescon said, "This is a tremendous moment for the university. He's had a long and distinguished career in service to the state of Georgia, and we look forward to hearing what he will share with our graduates in May."
Now let's look at sports with Stephen Williams.
With your CSU Sports, I'm Stephen Williams. Spring sports are in full swing on both the baseball and softball field, and with that, that's where we open up the week. The Cougar baseball team, ranked as high as number 13 in some of the national polls in Division II right now, took off for St. Augustine, Florida. Due to a couple of rainy days in the St. Augustine area, the games were pushed back over the weekend, but the three-game weekend series started with a doubleheader on Sunday afternoon at Flagler College. In game number one, it was a back-and-forth affair between the two, and CSU was trailing 9-7 in the top of the ninth inning, down to its final out. With the bases loaded, it was Brendan Collins, the leadoff hitter for the Cougars, that singled home 2 runs, tying the game and prolonging it, sending it to extra innings. In the 10th, CSU, thanks to a couple defensive miscues by the Saints, picked up 2 runs, held on in the bottom half of the inning, and took game number 1 of that doubleheader 11-9 to pick up a good start to their Sunday afternoon. In the second game of the doubleheader, they fell behind once again, this time falling behind 11-5. In the 7th inning, though, CSU put a 5 spot on the board, pulled themselves within 1 run, but in the 8th and 9th innings, they couldn't come up with the run they needed and dropped the second game of the doubleheader 11-10 to split the first 2 of that. CSU has a 25-10 overall record, though. They're 13-4 inside the conference, which is good enough for 3rd place right now, as they are well on their way to giving themselves a chance at an NCAA tournament bid coming up in May. They are the top pitching team right now inside the Peach Belt Conference. The CSU softball team is getting set to go to their conference tournament just a couple of weeks away, and they had a doubleheader with USC Aiken on their home field on Sunday afternoon. They are coming off a split at Georgia Southwestern on Wednesday, and then they took on one of the conference's and country's top pitchers on Sunday at their field. They fell behind 4-0 after the first 2 innings and battled back into the 6th, where they were without a hit until that point before Casey Googe slugged her 7th home run of the season, breaking a 4-0 game, making it 4-1. 2 batters later, it was junior Christian Carr who hit a home run for herself, her 9th of the year. That was a 2-run shot that made it 4-3, but that was where the rally stopped for CSU as they fell 4-3 in the opening game of the doubleheader against USC Aiken. In the second game, they jumped out in front 2-1 as Casey Gooch launched another home run, her 2nd of the day. This one a 2-run shot to put them up 2-1. The Lady Pacers of USC Aiken tied it right back up in the second at 2 apiece, and that was the score we had all the way until the 7th inning of that ball game. With 2 outs in the top of the 7th, USC Aiken picked up a home run from a pinch hitter off the bench to make it 4-2, but CSU wasted no time responding. Down to their final outs in the bottom of the 7th inning, Suzanne Carney led off the inning with a single, and it was Morgan Knight that launched a home run with nobody out in the 7th that tied the game at 4, sending that one to extra innings. In the extra frame, the top of the 8th inning, USC Aiken plated 4 runs, and CSU couldn't get any across, and they ended up falling 8-4, dropping both games of that doubleheader to fall to 21-16 overall and 4-8 inside conference play. But don't sleep on the Lady Cougars yet, because they will be heard from before this conference season is over with. We have a full slate of games coming up for you, baseball, softball, and a huge tennis match coming up in the upcoming schedule this week in Columbus State Athletics. The softball team will host Albany State on campus on Wednesday. It'll be Paul's Day on campus, so make sure you bring out your favorite 4-legged friend out to the ballpark and have them in attendance, as they will celebrate the furry creatures around the country at the Cougar Field on Wednesday afternoon. Those games will begin at 5, the doubleheader scheduled for 5 and 7 with Albany State. And then Saturday, they will hit the road. They will head to Augusta, all the way to the eastern portion of the state, where they will take on Georgia Regents University at 2 and 4 o'clock. Baseball will have one of its biggest series of the year coming up this weekend. Friday and Saturday, they are in Milledgeville, Georgia, to take on Georgia College, who is ranked as high as number 7 in some of the polls, so it could be a big-time top 15, top 20 matchup between those two schools. Friday, 6 o'clock, the opening game of that series, and Saturday's doubleheader starts at 1 with the second game scheduled to begin at 4. And then the weekend will finish off on campus with a tennis match. Armstrong coming to town on Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock. The men and women will play Armstrong Atlantic State University, and that is huge in both meetings. The men for CSU ranked 14th in the country. The Armstrong men come in ranked 5th overall. And then in a top 10 matchup, the women for CSU ranked 6th in the country, and Armstrong ranked number 2 in the latest poll. So it should be big-time tennis over at the Blackman Tennis Center coming up this week. So plenty of action for you, some of it here, some of it on the road, but you can stay up to date with everything right here on Cougar Sports TV. Until next week, I'm Stephen Williams.
Let's take a look at our weather for the week with Shaquille Brown.
Hello Cougars, I'm Shaquille Brown, and this is your weather for the week. On Monday, March the 31st, there will be a high of 76 with a low of 50 with a 0% chance of rain. On Tuesday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, there will be a high of 78 with a low of 51, partly cloudy with a 0% chance of rain. On Wednesday, April the 2nd, there will be a high of 80 with a low of 53, partly cloudy with a 0% chance of rain. On Thursday, April the 3rd, there will be a high of 82 and a low of 58, mostly cloudy with a 20% chance of rain. On Friday, April 4th, there will be a high of 76 with a low of 57, scattered thunderstorms with a 40% chance of rain. On Saturday, April 5th, there will be a high of 76 with a low of 55, mostly cloudy with a 10% chance of rain. And on Sunday, April 6th, there will be a high of 70 with a low of 51, cloudy with a 0% chance of rain. Finally, it's hot outside. Go outside and enjoy the warm weather, and we'll see you guys next week.
That's all for CSU TV News. Once again, my name is Sharifa Jackson.
And I'm Courtney Napier. Have a great week, Cougars.